Alright guys, welcome to the next section. Hope you enjoyed that intro. So now we'll start to dive into a little bit of the details about user research and some of the analogies again to better understand it. Cool. So this is a project. Yes, it's a metaphor, but we'll look at this symbol as just a way to understand how designers or developers or anyone working to execute something new approaches a new project. So, as people are executing or building or designing something, over time, they'll start one project and then they'll finish it, and then they'll start another project and finish that one, and then start a third project and finish that one. Cool, so now that you understand that one, this is how user research is involved in a project. So with each successive round, unlike the last one where you're finishing one project and then starting a new one, user research is designed to help you iterate on an existing project. So we'll look at that first triangle as a metaphor for just a first early stage of a single project. And then after a round of user research, you're able to develop more insights and make the project much more eloquent or more complex. And then through each successive round of user research, you're able to improve the product or the project and make it more complex, or you can make it better solve what you're originally intending. And while this does slow down your execution of projects over time, it makes your solutions much, much more eloquent so that you can actually solve the problem that you set out to at the beginning. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are kind of two major schools of thought in this one. I'll use an analogy from one of my favorite, couple of my favorite characters. The Captain Kirk way of thinking of this is, oh, we must act now. Is that we can't waste our time doing multiple rounds on the same project. We have to attack. And then on the opposite school of thought is Spock, and he's saying something like, oh, not so fast, Kirk. We must learn what to do first, and then we can fire. And then first we must aim, and then we must fire. So as you guessed it, Spock is more of the user research professional, and Kirk is more of this just very quick execution. So an ideal user experience designer will be kind of a blend of these two, so that first you can aim, and then, you guessed it, then you can attack, so that when you finally take that shot or strike, that you have the maximum efficiency or effectiveness with what you're doing. All right, so let's now look at the user research process. So user research really occurs in 5 major steps. Much like the design process, you'll start off with objectives. Let's say you want to better understand how a user reacts when they first open your application or visit your website. So let's say that that's the case. The next step is to create a hypothesis around this, something that you can prove false or prove true. So I'll just use a random example. Let's say our objective is to better understand new visitors, and our hypothesis is that they don't understand our company name. Next, the third step is to identify which methods you're going to use to test your hypothesis. So in this case, we may use something like a simple survey or a questionnaire. And then next, the fourth step is to actually conduct their user research. So now it's time to actually interact with users directly and figure out their point of view. Then next, the fifth step is to collect and synthesize those learnings. So after you've run the survey or you've interacted with users in some way, how can you review your learnings or the data so that you can revisit your original hypothesis and answer whether it was true or whether it was false, so that you can identify whether your objective was set.